The first horror movie ever, it was called Nosferatu, was made here in Hollywood in 1922.
And they're still making them. But there's an interesting difference between the old and the new in horror films, if you come to think about it. In the old horror films, you always had to have a highly visible monster. You had King Kong, you had Dracula, you had the Wolfman. In the 1950s, Alfred Hitchcock used a homicidal maniac in a lonely house on a hill. And that film was shot, Psycho, on the hill behind me. 2 years ago, it was a monster shark on a crowded holiday beach. And this monster was so successful, they've recreated the scene here on Universal Lot just to terrify the tourists at $2 a head.
Today, the monster has come closer. Closer than a lonely house, closer than a holiday beach, as close as he can ever come. Because although in his visible form he's a standard horror monster, he can work invisibly, possessing those you trust most, your friends, your children, even you. Hollywood has a word for a star who's so famous that his name alone can sell a film. The word is bankable. Today, the film industry has woken up to the fact that its most bankable star is the devil. There are 10 films due out of Hollywood this year featuring the devil or on the theme of supernatural evil. 20th Century Fox are underway with a successor to The Omen. Warner Burbank Studios have just finished filming The Heretic, the multi-million-dollar successor to The Exorcist for Warner Brothers. The Devil Within Her and J.D.'s Revenge are already out, with 2 more demonic epics coming from American International Pictures. This week, The Sentinel is released, and a saga of a black limousine possessed by evil called The Car is almost ready, both from Universal Studios. And Paramount are already in the dubbing theatre with a story of a demon-inspired crime called Spectre. Its writer and producer is Gene Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek, who has moved from the synthesized sounds of intergalactic voyaging to checking and approving the dubbing of diabolic snarls for a minor demon.
There's 2 movements it makes. One like this, one like this, where he's closest to it. I think that is the peak of its fury.
Yes.
Back up a little. There we are. The point is that this is not a monster. It is not an animal. It is a disciple of the demon Asmodeus, who we've seen metamorphize into this type of thing a bit at a time, and now it's becoming trapped in the symbol of his animalistic urges.
Why do you think devils are commercially successful these days?
I think we're almost finding that people need an enemy. I used to say when there was all the anti-communist hysteria going around, I really longed for the devil to come back because everyone could hate him without going around harming human beings. And just as we need a worship of good and decent things, we need an enemy to fight. I think the other thing is that the world is so upset today. Killings in North Ireland, the trouble in Uganda, all over the world we're breaking into strife, and people are saying, hey, if there aren't any answers in the real world, I'll look anywhere. I'll believe in flying saucers, or maybe sorcery will help. People are frantic for some answers, and they're really searching very far afield and hoping to find something.